And we are recording. I think I'm still picking up the anime in the background, so that's okay. That's okay.
I'm like so comfortable right now. I could take a nap.
It'll be all right. Welcome to this episode of the Nerdly Kingdom, coming to you not live from Jacob's spare bedroom.
It's not like they even noticed.
Brad's here. Lori's here. William's here. Jacob is here, but he's cleaning. Andrea's here, but she's watching anime.
And crocheting.
She's actively crocheting. She's not watching crocheting.
An anime
She
about
is
crocheting.
actively animating and watching crochet.
Yep, that one. All right.
Oh,
What is this epidose about?
Here comes the Men in Black. We saw Men in Black like a month
Y'all
ago.
saw Men in Black.
Yeah, me and William saw
I'm
Men in
behind on
Black.
everything.
Without spoiling it too much, meh.
It was boring and I didn't really like it that much.
That's so upsetting to hear too.
I thought it was a fun movie. It wasn't a good movie, but it was a fun movie. I enjoyed watching it. I don't think I'd go out of my way to watch it again.
It definitely had some problems in like how they wanted to.
Had problems in plot, flow, dialogue, jokes. It looked good.
It did look good, and there were some like fun moments in there. I really think that they should have done a Men in Black 4 and then Men in Black International,
Maybe.
because I feel like
Will Smith was too busy being a genie.
because they introduced Tessa Thompson's character, and I feel like they should have done a movie just for her character. And then, because there's just way too much going on in this movie for all the characters to be fully fleshed out, and I feel like they should have done a Men in Black 4 with Tessa Thompson's character being like a partner to Jay, and then done a Men in Black International where they're like, oh, hey, by the way, you're being transferred to London for this whatever, and then that should have been this movie.
Maybe. I don't know.
It just would have flowed better because I feel like they tried to cram way too much into one movie, and everything just felt half-assed because
I
of
almost feel deep down that that's a problem that a lot of movies are having recently, especially movies that's kind of trying to
build a
cash
franchise.
Yeah, kind of like cashing in on the older franchises that our generation grew up with.
And it's just a shame because the Men in Black trilogy is still pretty decent movies. And I mean, this movie's not terrible. I mean, it's still a okay movie, given its problems. It just, you can kind of just tell it's suffering the same problems that every other big franchise movie is suffering right now, where they're trying way too hard to build a franchise off of it instead of just trying to tell a story.
Yeah. I have a question. Did Men in Black 3 have a comic relief character?
Yes and no. It was a comic relief character, but it wasn't like made strictly for comic relief. It was just a funny character that was interesting.
I don't remember who.
It was the fourth dimension alien guy who could see all the different.
That's right.
He could see all the different possibilities.
That's right. I remember that because my problem with the first Men in Black. No, I didn't really have a problem. I felt like they handled it well in the first Men in Black. Men in Black 2, they focused too heavy on the worms, which aren't really even that funny.
And Frank, really.
Yeah, but Frank is almost okay because they just know how to write him better than the worms.
Yeah.
The worms are just like, look at us, we're so kooky, ah. And in the new one, they just went full on like comic relief characters just there 100% of the time once they see him. And while he's funny, he's kind of like Olaf funny, where it's like, ha, that's funny. And by the end of the movie, he's like, I hope you were die because you just go away.
I think that's a problem with like a lot of comic relief characters recently. They're trying to make them too much of a main character. Like comic relief should be exactly what it is. It's relief. It
never got to the point where that was necessary, though, too. That's the weird thing. It's like it never needed it. It never got so awful they needed a comic relief character. He was just kind of the funny guy. There were some moments. It was delivered well, but like a lot of this movie. A lot of this movie was delivered extremely well and written really poorly.
I really liked the villain. I mean, the villain
Yeah,
was a
yeah,
cool concept, but it just
Both villains, actually, I kind of enjoyed.
yeah.
That's the sad thing. The not main villain, but the side main villain, I feel like was the only character that had depth.
Yeah.
There's the only complex character that had like, she was just insane and crazy, and even she had more emotions than the main characters did.
That's how I felt about the last Batman movie in the Batman trilogy. Like the Christian Bale Batman.
Bane?
I guess I felt he had more emotions and backstory than any other character. It's been a hot minute, and I fell asleep
He's the only
through
one
part
that
of that
really
movie.
has much of a backstory.
But see, that's the problem with
Joker
that one.
intentionally doesn't.
Yeah,
and
but he
that's-
doesn't need one.
But that plays into the story where I feel
Yeah.
like, I think we had this conversation, how I feel like Batman 1 and 2 were about both Batman and the villain, whereas 3 was just about the villain and Batman was almost like a secondary character.
It was kind of, they were trying, the reason it did that was it was trying to bring the whole trilogy full circle. So they had to like focus on like the villain and where he comes from and how he relates to Batman.
I guess.
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's just Batman.
I just know I don't watch that one
Batman's
very
always
often.
had that problem.
But okay,
But
that's
anyways.
that's as far as we can get non-spoilery. No, we can do a little bit more. Let's go through it point by point. You didn't like how she got introed, the main character. I thought it was all right, I suppose. I'll give it props to Chris Hemsworth's character. Should have seen that storyline going where it went.
Who?
A Chris Hemsworth
Oh
character.
yeah.
That's the one decent thing that was written about that movie.
Yeah, it did have a pretty decent twist.
Should have
to
seen
it.
that coming. Didn't until like right before it happened. So cool. But just the dialogue in that movie was just. It's like it wasn't bad, but it was good enough that you're just like, all right, because like bad dialogue you can cringe at and kind of laugh at, but mediocre dialogue is just like, all right, next scene, let's.
And that's the thing, like it was mediocre in a
Let's
point
just
that
go.
like wasn't even funny.
It was just.
And even like the parts where it tried to be funny wasn't funny, so it was just like, all right.
That's so upsetting
It-
because
there
I
were-
really wanted this
There
movie
were
to be
points
good,
where the
like,
comic
so
relief
bad.
character was comic relief from the mediocrity of the other lines.
Yeah.
Like there's a time where they're working on they're stranded and they're working on the thing, and he's the only one that has any dialogue that's even sort of entertaining in any way. And it's just like, it was sad.
It's just Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson have great chemistry.
Yeah,
It just doesn't work in this movie because they're both almost the exact same character.
kind of.
It makes me miss the days of straight man Tommy Lee Jones and
But I also feel like
funny Will Smith.
Yeah.
I feel like without that chemistry, this movie would have been even worse.
Yeah.
Like they maybe could have. I don't know. It could have been great. It could have been great with a different storyline, but with those actors, it just I don't know. It was all right. It was all right.
One thing
Those
that
are-
pissed me off most about this movie, they just didn't give a fuck about neuralizing people or not neuralizing people.
Yeah.
Like, they maybe neuralized, like, a small handful of people. Even at the end, when all that shit was going on above the Eiffel Tower, I was like, okay, cool, they're gonna reveal the Eiffel Tower as a big neuralizer.
That's
similar
what I
to
thought
the
was
way-
gonna happen.
Similar to how Statue of Liberty was a neuralizer in New York. But it didn't. It just ended. And I was like, all right, loose end, but all right, I guess. Like, there was such a cool moment
You know
with such
what?
a cool setup, and they didn't do it.
I feel like. Okay, we're about to go into spoiler territory. We're only like 10 minutes into this, but that's as far as we can get, really. The movie from beginning to end gets progressively worse written.
Yeah.
Because I remember that there's a thing. What was it? The code word she used for alien, like Tommy's come to get the kids. And you see how that plays into, like, it's the tabloid is
Mhm.
Tommy comes. That was funny. Like, that was actually funny. The way that all tied together. And then after that, it was like, I don't know. It just was.
And speaking of terrible writing, this movie has like the biggest plot convenience of all time.
Really?
And it's not even like a surprise. There's like a 20-minute flashback before the movie even starts. So you're like, okay, yeah, it's gonna come back and do the thing, and they came back and did the thing, and everyone's surprised. Be like, yeah,
We knew.
yeah, you set this up. You didn't. This wasn't some random thing that happened. This was like the random convenience had more setup than the actual plot did. Oh, I forgot about that. Dang it, man. I was like, yeah, this is a good movie. This was okay. It was fun. And I remember that. And I was like, oh, fuck, I hate that.
I really liked what they did with Tessa Thompson's character, though. Her being someone that wasn't neuralized and spent her entire life looking for MIB. And
I also like
it.
how they actually acknowledge the fact that between the first movie and the third movie, like, the writers have changed how MIB works because they say when they find her, it's like, in the old days, we would have hired her. I was like, and that would have been the Tommy Lee Jones kind of.
Yeah.
That was a nice touch.
Yeah.
But it's almost like it was made by Sony and there was some producer that kept coming in and rewriting the movie and it was awful.
Yeah.
It's almost like that's exactly what happened.
But yeah,
I don't know. Rent it on Redbox. It'll be
Men
fun
in
to
Black
watch.
International, a strong 5.
Yeah.
Like, it's not terrible, but it's just it's not a movie that I would want to watch again.
It has some lines that are written so bad, even Alicia was annoyed at what Alicia called forced feminism. And if Alicia says that, it's not good.
Yeah.
Like, it just, like, I don't know. The comedic relief character literally, I'm not saying literally as a figurative, literally as in the actual definition of the word, is worshiping her the entire movie. And it gets real old, real fucking fast.
Yeah.
By the end of the movie, he's all right. Like, little comedic dude boy had more of a character arc than the main character did.
Mm-hmm.
That just occurred to me. He actually changes the movie goes on. She stays exactly the fucking same. I just get more mad at this movie the more I think about it.
I think that's how we are with most movies once we really start talking about it, though.
It was fun to watch, though.
You need some help.
No.
I need help.
Oh, that poor kitty.
All right, I helped.
We accidentally trapped the cat in this room with us, and poor kitty is so furry that he can't quite keep himself groomed. He got fur stuck in his mouth. All right.
Men in Black International.
Is there anything else I want to add?
I got nothing else. I hate how they put Frank on the poster, and Frank's only in the movie for 3 seconds.
Yeah. But
anything to cash in a little bit more.
I hate that this movie had...
The worms are on the poster, too, and they're not even in the movie.
I'm so glad that you just see them in passing, and that's it. I hate them. I hate that this movie had Chris Hemsworth, what's her name? Tessa Thompson?
Tessa Thompson.
And the Liam Neesons. And it was just not good enough for them.
It could have been better.
Hello, kitty cat.
That being said, though... I still enjoyed the end of that movie.
My favorite
character
was the one MIB agent that was constantly suspicious.
Oh, the one with the really stupid name.
Yeah. And
Agent C. His name was Agent C, and he was the conspiracy theorist one. And the entire time you think he's got agency, and I just thought it was funny because he's Agent C.
Oh, see, I thought Agent C.
He even had a character arc.
The letters. Yeah.
Whereas,
yeah.
Well, it's like I knew it was letters.
To be fair, I wouldn't call it a character arc. He had a character cliff. Like, he's going a straight line, and then for convenience of story, he changes for the better right at the last minute. So I don't know if I call it an arc.
It works, though. But still, I mean, I don't know.
He had a character plateau.
Yeah.
The rest of them were just kind of character fields. I don't know.
It could have been a good movie.
It could have been a really good movie.
It wasn't.
I still enjoyed it. Like, all that being said, I still enjoyed watching it. Maybe 5, maybe 6. Lori's taking a picture.
I'm very perched.
He's bird perching.
Bird perching.
Bird perching.
That was a quick review.
That's all I gotta say. Like, I really don't have that much to say about this movie.
I don't either.
I slept through like 20 minutes of it.
My favorite character in that movie was I don't even know her name. The lady in charge of that one.
Oh, Agent O?
Is that her name? Agent O? Yeah. I love the way she plays that character.
Oh, this coffee tastes like dirt. Men in Black 3 is the best.
It really is. And it's
Josh Brolin as Young K is fucking amazing.
Dude, I didn't realize until you said that recently that was him. I went back and was like, holy shit, that is him.
My mom was recently watching Men in Black 3, and I looked and was like, oh my god, that's Josh Brolin. Next thing I know, I was sitting there watching the scene, and I was late to wherever I was trying to go.
Here's my thing is, do I think Men in Black 2 or Men in Black 4 is worse? I think Men in Black 2 might be worse, but it's a more wacky movie that it makes it more fun to watch.
It really is. Men in Black 2 is the worst movie of the three, but it is the most entertaining and has the best jokes.
Men in Black 2 is... The thing about Men in Black 2 is it's kind of like Evil Dead 2, where it just embraces the campy part of it, and it just makes it fun. Even if I do fucking hate the worms. Whereas 4 tried to be serious and ended up campy, and that not good. It didn't work. I don't know how I feel about the movie. I'm constantly changing on how I love and hate the characters. I still think my favorite, the best written character, I still think is the villain lady. You saw all of her dimensions. But whatever, that's it. That's all we got.
It's weird watching a Men in Black movie where they spend most of the movie out of their suits.
Oh yeah.
So that was kind of weird, but whatever. Anyways,
I don't know how much I want to spoil of it, but I do love looking back on it and being like, Chris Hemsworth's character is supposed to be this genius agent. Why is he doing all this stupid shit? And at the end of the movie, he's like, oh, he's just an idiot. That plot twist, he's just a dumbass. Like, that's how the plot
kind of plot.
It really is kind of the plot twist. But yeah, I don't know. I was disappointed. I came out of the movie going, that was fun, but it's like you ever left a movie where you haven't overanalyzed it yet, but you leave the movie going, I enjoyed watching that, but why do I have this weird taste in my mouth from that movie? And that's how
then you go back and you really break it down. You're like,
me and Alicia both left that movie going, that was fun, and then on the car ride home, by the time we got back, we're like, it was all right.
I saw it at the drive-in with a double feature with Secret Life of Pets 2.
Oh my God.
And I enjoyed Secret Life of Pets 2.
How dare you say something like that?
That movie was terrible, but I just enjoyed it more. I don't know. It was terrible, but it was...
I did something similar. Once we went to a drive-in and a double feature, it was Zoom with Tim Allen.
Oh God.
And Barnyard. And I thought Barnyard was going to be awful and Zoom was going to be great because of that superhero. Zoom's like one of the worst movies I've ever seen. It was just bad. And Barnyard was actually pretty damn funny.
I saw Barnyard in theaters. That's so
I did too.
weird.
Quick mini review: Secret Life of Pets 2 should have never existed. It is not a movie. It is a pile of shit.
Before we get into what was the other movie we were reviewing?
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Oh, I haven't seen that one. So before we get into that, I watched the movie recently because YouTube told me to. Because I watched the video essay on it about how it was like secretly a great movie. It just got released at a bad time, and I watched Megamind. That movie was really, really good.
Yeah,
that was a really well-written movie, and for 2010, really ahead of its time with the Nice Guys.
Yeah,
even called her Milady. Even got the Milady in there.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
Look,
DreamWorks has got some gems in there.
Yeah.
I legit, while I was at work once, somebody said something to me, and I literally responded, and I love you too, random citizen.
That's a great setup to show you just at the very beginning how little the superhero actually cares about him.
Yeah.
It's not, I love you too. He has to point out random citizen. And at the end of the movie, the same guy says something. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, friend. Just to see how the character that wasn't on, even the character that wasn't on screen in the movie had a character arc.
I also used the Olo.
Also,
that just
go back and watch
me.
that movie. That movie, I'm pretty sure was made after Dr. Horrible.
I think so.
Because Megamind has Neil Patrick Harris's face. So I'm watching go back. He looks like it. Like you're just watching Dr. Horrible
I think
again.
You're just trying to make fun of Neil Patrick Harris's forehead.
No, the forehead is where it stops, just the face part. But he does. Like he even makes the same
yeah.
facial expressions. It's
Yeah.
weird. I don't know if that was intentional, but
I wonder.
But regardless, I greatly enjoyed that movie. It's really weird seeing that good of a performance. That serious. how serious and not serious of a performance from Will Ferrell all at the same time. Normally he can do one or the other, but it was really back and forth with that one. It was interesting.
Am I really the only one here that's seen Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I had to see Spider-Man or Midsommar, and we chose Midsommar.
Oh, shit. Oh,
Because
So-
Spider-Man was only
Dr.
playing in 3D.
Dr. Horrible came out September 1st, 2008, and Megamind came out October 30th, 2010.
Okay,
Speaking of which, they stopped showing Spider-Man at my AMC. They're still showing Endgame.
really?
I am not shocked.
You know how Endgame came back?
Yeah.
It never stopped at AMC.
Oh, it never stopped at Gadsden either.
Yeah, so
Okay, so all right, I'm the only one that's seen Spider-Man.
sorry.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Spider-Man:
I've-
Far From Home.
I've had some stuff spoiled for me
I know,
solely because me and one of my coworkers, we talk about stuff all the time, and he came up to me like really super excited because he was like, I was right, and just like told me all the stuff he had guessed. And I was like, I'm not even mad just because he's so excited about this. And, it's Spider-Man.
Yeah,
I'm not super upset if that one gets spoiled for
I
me,
am super upset it's going to be spoiled for me, but at this point, I acknowledge it is my fault, so I'm willing.
Yeah.
And I
feel
just
it.
can't believe I didn't see a Jake Gyllenhaal movie. Or a movie with Mysterio. Or a movie with Mysterio, Jake Gyllenhaal. I'm really upset with myself that I didn't see. I just couldn't find the time.
Yeah.
God, I feel that.
Spoiler warning for Spider-Man Far From Home from this point on. Just by the way.
My the funniest thing to me is movie coming out and all these people online, all these fans being like, "Oh, Mysterio's a bad guy," and like watching everyone on Twitter be like, "Oh, Mysterio looks like a cool superhero," and I'm just like, "You fucking fools! You're being you're falling.
You're falling
for it.
for the propaganda.
It's really,
Idiot."
It's really interesting, me knowing only half of superhero stuff. So, like, something will happen. Like, I had no idea. And William's just like, oh, yeah, because blah, 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 blah. Like,
and you feel like
Spider-Man.
this big.
No, I mean, I'm used to it. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, where you find out, like, not Black Panther, damn it. The other one. Prowler. The other cat guy. Is his uncle.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, spoilers for that movie, by the way. And I had no idea, but like, if you know anything about the characters, you know that. So it's funny being on the other side of that. Like, Mysterio's a cool superhero. I was like, dude, he's a bad guy. Stop it.
But
it's just so
but
interesting seeing it from the
it's
other
kind
side.
of it's one of those like little fun things because the people who already know that are going to go into the movie going, oh no, he's in for it.
Yeah.
And then the people who don't know are going to be like,
the twist part was so well done. Like, I'm so glad they marketed it the way they did, because I knew the twist was coming and I knew he was a bad guy. But the way it happened in the movie, if you didn't know that, your mind would have been blown.
Really?
The thing
Maggie's
is, though,
mind was blown.
the
because
great thing is
even knowing he's a bad guy, I was prepared to think that maybe if they're doing the multiverse thing, he might be a good guy simply for survival. Like, the possibility was there.
yeah, about
like,
that multiverse
I gotta be good to
thing.
live.
Well, that's another thing.
easy to lie.
Is a lie.
Easy lie.
Is a lie. He made it up. Anyways, but that's the best part about, because Maggie
I love that
didn't know-
that came out right after Endgame, where
Yeah.
we know it's a
Yeah.
fact, it's a thing.
Okay, so
Oh, how are they doing the X-Men?
this is the best Spider-Man movie I've ever seen. It is just 100% fucking amazing.
Note to self: do a spoiler warning before this. Edit that in. Thank you,
Doot doot.
because we already spoiled it.
I'm trying to think about what to talk about first. I'll say this.
Let's just watch it right now.
Tom Holland and Zendaya's chemistry is fantastic. Like, they actually become a couple in this, and they have a lot of cute moments.
I've
I
brought this
want
up before. How old is she? Because I swear every movie I see her in, there's like a 20-year age difference.
But in like
She's
the best
like
way.
20.
Yeah, exactly.
Not in like
in her early
she
20s.
aged, but
Like,
just
I could have sworn
she's
she was like
maturing super
she's
well.
Well, like in Greatest Showman, she looks like this older, like still kind of young, but very mature, kind of like maybe late 20s kind of person. And then in Spider-Man, she looks like she's 14.
She's 22, which would explain why it kind of
Like
has
all
that
she does
look.
is put her hair up in a ponytail, and she goes from late 20s to like mid-teens, and I'm just very confused.
It's because she's 22, and we're so used to that Hollywood 22-year-olds playing like 14-year-olds,
Yeah.
and it just
But no,
throws us off.
they have such great chemistry. And literally, their relationship and their scenes together are the best parts of the whole movie.
I want to play off of
But
that
what
just
about-
really quick because of how great that like their chemistry being really good and stuff. Just because their chemistry is great does not mean that you guys should headcanon them in everything in the world. Because if I see that again on Twitter, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Oh, like the
Thank
real
you.
life people?
Well, no, not like shipping them two together, but just like any time that like a idea for a movie comes out and they're like Zendaya should play the female character and Tom Holland should play them out. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
don't know.
You mean like Men in Black?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah.
That's the thing about Men in Black is I think both of those characters did that character really well, but I don't think both of them should have been
Yeah.
those characters.
But Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio is just...
Jake Gyllenhaal's never done a bad role.
It is amazing.
Ever.
His role
Prove
in
me
this
wrong.
movie is amazing. Everything about this movie is amazing. This
I
is
don't
the
think I've ever
greatest
seen Jake
Spider-Man movie
Gyllenhaal in a
I've ever
movie.
seen. Okay, so
Just
I'm going to go
saying.
into the plot.
Like, name me a bad Jake Gyllenhaal movie.
I've never seen a Jake Gyllenhaal movie, so I don't know.
What have I seen Jake Gyllenhaal in? Like Donnie Darko, October Sky.
Haven't seen it.
Oh, you know what? He has been in the bad movie. I don't know if he acting was bad. How do we feel about Prince of Persia?
I've not seen Prince of Persia. That's why I
I
haven't
haven't
said
seen
anything.
that either.
That might be the one. What's the one where he's like the best anyone's ever acted ever? Nightcrawler?
Nightcrawler?
Is that him?
Velvet Buzzsaw was kind of
I
bad.
haven't seen
Oh
that.
yeah. Dude, the one where he's the news anchor guy, the freelance guy. He's
Yeah,
just
that's
fucking,
Nightcrawler.
Fucking,
I haven't seen
movie's
it.
so fucking good. Watch the movie. Watch Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler is one of those movies like that was amazing. I'm never watching that again.
No,
I
Nightcrawler's
love
great.
movies like that so
And how do you
much.
feel about The Day After Tomorrow?
I feel like he
Isn't
played his.
that?
I feel
I've
like
seen a
I
Jake
feel like-
Gyllenhaal movie.
I feel like he played that character as well as he could have with the way it was written. So
But-
okay, there are a few.
Look, I genuinely
But
enjoy
just-
that movie. Don't
You
take
watch-
this away from
just
me.
Watch Nightcrawler, and you'll be like, that he can do whatever he wants. Jake Gyllenhaal can just act however the fuck he wants. We need to watch that
Jake
movie.
Gyllenhaal could come and punch me in the face, and I'd be like,
Nightcrawler's that one
"Thank
movie.
you."
How there's like every other day there's an Ask Reddit. It's like, what movie fucked you up the most? They just keep asking that question. I don't know why. Nightcrawler's always like top 3,
Really?
always
Okay, so anyway.
right under Hereditary and Midsommar. now.
Spider-Man
I
Far
haven't
From
seen either
Home
of those either.
takes place...
Okay. Anyway, sorry.
Spider-Man Far From Home takes place 8 months after Endgame. It's great. The movie starts with Whitney Houston's "And I Will Always Love You."
I feel like
What
you're
does that
lying,
mean?
but I don't know enough
No,
about this movie.
Like the Marvel credit, the Marvel opening, Marvel Studios logo comes up and that song's playing, and then it skips to an in memoriam video made by the high schoolers, and it's showing like Tony Stark and Steve Rogers and Vision and Natasha, and it's saying like thank you to our fallen heroes. And then it does this thing where they talk about everyone coming back, and they call it the blip. And there's a video of band kids disappearing out of the basketball gym.
Yeah.
And then there's another video of them popping back into existence after the Hulk snaps. And this one kid with a trombone gets nailed by a dodgeball. It's hilarious. Anyways, it is so funny because they talk about how some kids that are 5 years younger are now older.
Yeah.
And the kids that got snapped, like their high school class is redoing that year of high school because something about them stopping or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that makes
And
sense.
the kid that's on the news thing for the school is like, my little brother's older than me now. It's weird. It's hilarious. So anyways, okay, so they're going on summer vacation to Italy. And Peter's like, oh, I'm going to tell MJ how I feel about her. Simultaneously, these elementals are popping up. One pops up in Mexico, and it's like a fire elemental. And Nick Fury and Maria Hill show up, and Mysterio shows up, and Mysterio's like, I need Spider-Man. And Nick Fury recruits Spider-Man to help fight the elementals.
I know, I've seen that in the trailer, and that was one of the funniest damn things to me. It's like, I don't know if I can... Bitch, you've been to space!
So Nick Fury shows up, recruits Spider-Man, and then gives him... Because you know the glasses that Tony Stark wears in
yeah.
Infinity
Yes.
War? Gives him those glasses, because Tony wanted him to have the glasses. And the AI in the glasses is called Edith, which stands for even dead, I'm the hero.
Jesus
Oh my god, that's the most Tony Stark thing I've ever heard in my life.
And Peter is like, no, I don't want to do that. No one, if people see Spider-Man and this whatever, they'll know it's me.
Yeah.
And so Quentin Beck's gang redirects their vacation to where the second elemental's supposed to hit, and they give him the stealth suit. Nick Fury gives him the stealth suit. And they call him Night Monkey so that no one knows it's Spider-Man. Anyway, so Spider-Man's helping Quentin fight the elementals and whatever, and Spider-Man keeps messing up, and he feels like he's not deserving of the Edith glasses, and so gives them to Quentin. Because he's like, Mr. Stark would have really liked you, and it's really cool the way they do Quentin's mustache and beard and hair. When he puts the glasses on, he literally looks just like Robert Downey Jr., and it's funny because you can see in Peter Parker's face that, like, initial, holy shit, I'm looking at Tony Stark again.
Aww.
But they're in a bar when this happens. And then Peter gets up and leaves, and after he leaves, everything in the bar starts to disappear. And everything that's left is an empty room, Quentin and a few other people. And that's when the plot twist happens, when he's like, what'd I tell you, easy, huh? Turns out, Quentin Beck is the guy who created the barf technology from Civil War.
Nice.
And he was pissy and then he got fired by Tony Stark because he made a big deal out of being pissy about his tech being used as Tony Stark's personal, mental, whatever. And his team is a collection of ex-employees of Stark Industries. And their goal was to get those glasses because those glasses control this satellite that's in space that holds all these Stark drones. And they need the drones because that's what they're using to project the elementals. Like, the elementals, the damage and everything, it's all a projection. It's cool. Even the Mysterio suit is a projection. Like, Quentin Beck's wearing a motion capture suit. And the suit just tracks his movements and stays on him, and it's really fucking cool. And there's this really cool scene where he flies up to meet Peter on the top of a building. Yeah. And the camera is on Peter, and in the background you can see the roof access doors open, and it goes around Peter, the camera does, like it's tracking someone in the background, and then it lines up next to him. And the Mysterio suit glides down next to him, and the helmet comes off, and you see Quentin's head. And it's so cool looking back and realizing that Mysterio was a projection, and there was another projection cloaking Quentin as he was walking up and sitting down just to make the illusion.
Jesus Christ.
All one. But anyways, so they're using the drones to project the elementals and everything. And the damage they cause is through, like, bullets and, like, different kinds of, like, sonic stuff that the drones can do. It's so cool once they show you how everything works. And Quentin is controlling the Mysterio projection remotely, like in a different area. And he's being fed dialogue from someone else in his crew on what to say. And it's funny because during the ending, Quentin's like going up to Nick Fury and is like, the elementals drawing power from the Earth's core. And Nick Fury looks at Maria Hill and is like, that sounds like a bunch of bullshit to me. And so anyways, but the thing is, Peter finds out that this is happening and goes to confront Nick Fury about it. And Mysterio creates this whole elaborate illusion of Peter being picked up by Nick Fury and Quentin killing Nick Fury. And there's like this whole trippy, like... the only thing I can relate it to is the Arkham games, where you're under Scarecrow's...
Oh, yeah.
And it's basically just Quentin breaking Peter's mind.
Jesus.
And it is the coolest shit. And there's just one scene where Iron Man's corpse comes out of the grave.
Jesus.
And Quentin, and it just says, what does he say?
It's your fault, Peter.
Basically,
No.
he was like, if you're so great, Tony would still be here, or something like that.
I don't feel so good, Peter.
Ugh.
Peter, I'm
But
scared.
anyways-
Peter.
It's like, and it's cool because like there's this one part where Quentin gets shot by Nick Fury, and you think it's over, but it's just another part of the illusion. It just keeps going and keeps going, and finally,
What's that movie? 1408.
yeah,
Oh.
and then finally it ends, and Quentin pushes Spider-Man in front of a train, and he gets hit by a train. And
Good
it's-
God.
yeah. And so Peter, gets picked up by Happy, and Peter's like freaking out and trying to get Happy to prove that it's really him. And Peter makes his own Spider-Man suit in the Stark jet, and it's like this really sweet scene of like Peter saying all this stuff and interacting with all the
Like-
interfaces, and
Kind
Happy
of like
look-
a Iron Man 1 type
yeah,
montage.
and Happy's just watching, and you can see tears in his eyes.
Aww.
And Happy's like, you make the suit, I'll control the tunes. And he starts playing Back in Black by AC/DC. And Peter goes, oh, I love Led Zeppelin. The best joke in the whole movie.
Oh, they're just always going to make jokes like that.
But the cool thing about this movie, too, is that they put a lot of emphasis on Peter struggling with his spider sense and trying to get a grip on it.
Do they ever really... They only kind of use the spider sense in the other movies.
Yeah.
They don't use it a whole bunch.
But in this one, they use it a lot because he has to in order to kind of differentiate what's real and what's an illusion.
Yeah.
And so a big part of his journey in this movie is learning how to use a spider sense. And it's so cool because the last fight scene, he's in an overpass, a glass overpass, with drones, and they make this big like illusion thing, and Peter just closes his eyes and uses a spider sense, and he gets a hallway fight scene.
Huh.
And it is so cool.
Like some Daredevil shit.
And so he defeats Mysterio, which is cool because it shows Mysterio getting shot by his own drone. And then Peter goes over to him and starts talking to him, whatnot. And then out of nowhere, Peter throws his hand up and stops a gun from shooting him in the back of the head. And then the illusion comes down and you realize that Mysterio was behind him the whole time about to shoot him, and he was talking to another projection. And then Quentin's like, oh, I actually got shot. I'm dead. And Peter says, Edith, is this an illusion? And she says, no, Peter. Which makes me think Quentin's still alive.
Yeah, maybe. Because he had the glasses.
So yeah, it's a great movie. Best Spider-Man movie I've ever seen. Like, me talking
That's
about it
not
doesn't,
exactly a high bar to...
doesn't do a lot of the movie a lot of justice. Like, you really have to see it to really
Yeah,
understand how
yeah.
intricate and great it is and how tightly written it is and whatnot. The best thing about this movie, J.K. Simmons is back as J. Jonah Jameson.
Really?
Yeah.
They actually did do
They
that.
did it. The mid-credit sequence.
That's so strange.
The mid-credit sequence is Peter... Like, the movie ends with Peter and MJ swinging through New York. And it's hilarious because she's screaming the whole time and she's terrified. And then it ends with him dropping her off. And it's actually a really sweet scene, and why I love how they're doing Peter and MJ's relationship. Because he's swinging through New York and taking pictures and sending it to her. And she texts him back and says, don't swing and text. And they just have such
That's
great
cute.
chemistry. But anyways, at the end,
Loop.
there's a screen in Times Square of the news, and Mysterio's whole thing is about, you know, people are easy to fool and whatever. And it turns out they were recording the scene where they were recording Quentin's death. And at one point, Edith asks, would you like me to execute the drones? And Peter says, yes, execute them all. And Quentin's team makes this whole thing out of making Peter look like the villain and Quentin looking like the hero. And it cuts over to, it says, this footage courtesy of the dailybugle.net. And it switches over to dailybugle.net. And it's like this InfoWars type thing. And J. Jonah Jameson's like this Alex Jones figure. And he's played by J.K. Simmons again. And he's just like, Spider-Man is a menace and a villain. And then at the very end of the mid-credit scene, he's just like, and that's not all, folks. We have this stinger or whatever. And it cuts back to Quentin Beck. And he's just like, Spider-Man's real identity is Peter Parker. and it cuts to Spider-Man. He goes, "What the fuck?"
Jesus.
So yeah. And then the after credit scene, it turns out that Nick and Maria and the entire movie the whole time were Skrulls. It was Talos and his wife posing as Nick and Maria.
That's the part I knew about.
Oh. Why?
Because their role in the movie, they were supposed to... Nick Fury's on vacation,
Yeah.
and he asked them to deliver the glasses to Peter, and they accidentally got wrapped up in the whole
Oh, okay. I mean,
Mysterio thing, which is why... And I love that they did this. A lot of people weren't happy with that, but I love the reason they did it, because had they not done it, the movie wouldn't have made sense, because Nick Fury would have instantly been
yeah.
mysterious, or,
Yeah, he's
mysterious of Mysterio. But it's cool because it does set up cool thing, because Nick Fury's
suspicious, I think is the
vacationing.
word you're looking for.
Because somebody, it's like, I can't remember how I heard it, but it's like, it might have actually been from my coworker, because it was a whole matter of a lot of people through the movie were like, this is not how Nick Fury would act. This is not
Oh yeah,
Nick
he
Fury.
acts
Like,
weird,
this
and it makes
is
sense at the
wrong.
end.
This is off. And then at the end, it's like, oh.
It's so funny too, because
That's what I felt about. Not quite the same, but like in Endgame, I was like, why are they showing so many Black Widow scenes? It seems kind of Black Widow heavy. And then you're like,
Because that's all the ones she's got.
No, but Nick Fury's vacationing on a Skrull ship in space, and it's this huge ship, which makes me think they're setting up S.W.O.R.D. in the MCU.
There are too many
know if you know what
acronyms.
S.W.O.R.D. is.
I don't. I mean, I know what a sword is.
It's,
Yeah,
um,
I have heard of swords before.
It's like S.H.I.E.L.D., but they monitor extraterrestrial
Okay.
threats. So I'm thinking
Sword
That's
and
cool.
it's
shield.
going to start to
Jesus
lean over
Christ.
into...
I wouldn't have even put that together had you not said that.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I ain't smart.
I feel like what's gonna happen is that Nick Fury is gonna start S.W.O.R.D. with the Skrulls, and the Skrulls are gonna act as his like intelligence espionage
It's very interesting.
gang. Like, I really like how they're
Shield is more
doing the
about
Skrulls in this
protecting,
movie.
Yeah,
and
it's
Sword
really
is
this
more
franchise.
about it.
You know why? I realized why, because I haven't seen the movie. I had to have it explained to me by Matt Pat on Film Theory that the bad guys in the Dark Phoenix movie are Skrulls. But they changed the name
Oh,
last
yeah,
minute
that's
so people
right.
wouldn't get confused. And so they already had evil Skrulls. And they had to that's why Dark Phoenix did so bad. They had to rewrite the whole movie because they were using the same aliens as
Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
And it's really very, very close to the same movie, and so they changed it last minute because Disney is not going to change Captain Marvel because
No.
Disney's going to keep going, whereas Fox is about to
Yeah,
sell us stuff
about to
anyway.
lose
We own you.
So it's unfortunate. Not that the Dark Phoenix movie is going to be good anyways, because I really think that storyline is stupid, and we need to stop doing it over and over and over again.
So, okay, really quick on that, because I'm confused, and I feel one of y'all can explain it, because isn't this similar to what happened in X-Men 3?
It's
Yeah.
exactly what happened in X-Men 3.
But isn't this part of the same storyline
the whole
as those?
the whole
It was
the whole
supposed
movie
to be.
whole movie got rebooted. Everything got rebooted.
Well, the
because
thing
of that one
is-
movie.
But is it still part of that same
yeah,
movie group?
It is, but there was a timeline break.
yeah.
Okay.
And so it happened way earlier.
Basically, Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix are happening in its own timeline because of they changed the past and Days of
When
Future Past.
when Wolverine went back, we're
Okay.
on a separate timeline. Check.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I just need that explained because I was like, wait, because I could have swore that that's all that X-Men 3 was about, except they weren't children.
So
They
how do you
were-
think? Now that we think the multiverse thing's bullcrap, how do you think they're bringing in the X-Men?
Well, the multiverse
They're
still
not.
exists.
I know, but
It's just, I think what they'll do is they'll do a thing where they're like, mutants have existed
or yeah, well, like in
for a
humans.
while,
Well-
and they've just never done anything big because
Well, I was going to say, wasn't...
Charles.
Maybe he's dead for some reason. And
Well, it's like, wasn't that kind of part of your theory, like, anyway, because they're releasing that WandaVision show where Wanda creates the entire reality of her and Vision
it's
living happily
possible,
ever
man.
after.
I don't even know.
And
What
so you kind of get to see Wanda literally just warping a huge reality.
Yeah, what if she like explodes and it just her cosmic energy. I hate using that word. Just starts giving people powers.
Because I'm
Or
so
you
sad,
could do a Fantastic Four and they just went to space and got superpowers. I hate Fantastic Four.
Because one, WandaVision sounds like such a cute name for a show.
I don't know.
And then two, it's like gonna be a like 1950s style, like really cutesy thing. But then you find out it's all because she's still not coping well with Vision actually being dead, so she's created a whole reality.
What if it's not the world in her head? What if she actually warped reality?
Yeah,
into that?
exactly.
Okay,
like,
yeah. It doesn't matter. I don't know. I don't even care.
Like mutants have existed.
Or
for
they
a
just,
while.
or they're just like, no, X-Men are gone. No more
no
X-Men
more.
movies.
They kind of went on the down low after the Sokovia Accords.
Yeah,
they didn't.
I
would
have. That makes sense.
And
yeah,
they've
that's
just
what
been-
you would have done.
the mutants were the friends we made along the way.
I don't know.
What are they
I feel
gonna
like
do?
They're
They-
not gonna touch X-Men for a while.
Because they need to. They unfortunately they're gonna have to drop Magneto because his backstory is not gonna add up anymore. It's too long ago now.
Too long ago. Unless they change it.
Unless they
and do,
change
like,
it,
a
I
different
just-
genocide.
Yeah, maybe, but they might just not do Magneto and Charles.
I was gonna say,
It's time to switch some stuff up.
I also feel it'd be really hard for them to do Magneto and Charles just from a fan standpoint because fans are so comfortable with McAvoy, Stewart, and then Fassbender.
Unless
and
they do a
McKellen.
60s X-Men movie. I mean,
That's true.
but
Instead of making a school, he just makes a sanctuary. Like, stay low, stay hidden.
basically, I mean, either way,
Welcome to the X-Men cave.
There's a couple things they could do. I don't know.
I'm sure that they'll figure it out. I guess.
Yeah, I've got faith, but
I don't really have much more to say about Spider-Man. I feel like I did a really.
I mean,
poor
it
job
was most of
explaining
this
it.
podcast.
But yeah, I
Talked about
feel
MIB
weird
for
that I'm the only one that's seen it, so I'm the only one that has to talk about it. And I mean,
Yeah, that's my bad, but we both seen the next movie we're gonna talk about in the next episode, and it's gonna be fun.
yeah, woo.
I got a lot to say about that movie.
Yeah,
and none of
Spider-Man
it's
Far
good.
From Home.
I haven't seen that
My
movie.
biggest
I say
either.
none of it's
complaint-
good. It's a great movie, and everything I have to say is great for the movie. But that's another one of those movies. Like,
It's Midsummer that you're talking about next, right?
because that's another one of those movies. No spoilers here, but that's another movie where it's like that was one of the best movies I've ever seen. I'm never watching that movie again. I cannot handle it. I just cannot handle it. But anyways,
The one thing that bothers me the most about this movie is about Spider-Man is not even Spider-Man. It's the people that's complaining that Far From Home didn't explain enough about
But
what
wasn't-
happened after this. Everyone got
wasn't
snapped
really its
back into
job.
existence, and I was just like, it has its own story to tell. It doesn't have time to talk about that. I mean, it briefly goes into a few things because Spider-Man is
I mean, what's to say?
running a fundraiser.
I think over the next phase or so, we'll probably see little bits and pieces.
We'll definitely
of the
see
coping,
more. I feel like
and it'll
the
piece
shows,
together over movies.
The shows will probably go into it. I mentioned that I feel like what they should do is make a documentary for Disney Plus that kind of goes into
Oh,
that
like a
would be cool.
mockumentary of
Yeah.
like after the snap.
Snap happened, Lori.
because
People
in-
grieved. It's not a
in-
mockumentary.
In this movie, when they're on the plane going to the country they're going to, Peter's flipping through movies, and there's a documentary movie called like The Snap or Surviving the Snap or something like that.
I wonder.
You know,
I
that
wonder if there's
would
a character in
in the
that would
universe
be.
we live in, it would end up being like a TLC reality documentary that became a series. And it'd be called Life After the Snap.
But I mean, they briefly go
or
into
or
it
even worse, be like, oh snap,
because
life after the whatever, you know.
there's just one part where they're raising money for homeless after the snap, people that came back and don't have anywhere to go.
Yeah, jeez.
But I mean, there's not a
That's a
whole
big
lot
deal.
they can really go into as far
Not
as
in-
this movie.
yeah, not in someone else's movie.
Well, from the way that you talked about the movie, there's already so much going on,
If-
and
Yeah.
it's like we have to focus a bit on
If there was going to
Peter's
be
development and having to deal with after the snap and having to deal with after losing Tony, this person that he basically saw.
I feel
a
like
father.
if Captain America hadn't gotten old, that would be the next Captain America movie.
Maybe that's what I think. I think the Falcon and Winter Soldier Disney Plus show may go into it.
That would make sense. That would.
But it's gonna
make
be
sense.
a while before we see anything because the next movies are Black Widow and Eternals, I think, and both of those are supposed to be
Oh, they are making the Eternals movie?
prequels.
That's gonna be interesting.
So-
I still feel like now that they've killed Black Widow, what's
As far as
Like a brick
as I
plate.
know, Black Widow actually takes place after Civil War.
I know, but I'm just like,
Yeah.
It's one of those movies we just don't need, but if it ends up being important, I won't mind. Or
Mhm.
good.
Even
you know?
yeah, honestly, it's one of those things that was they were trying forever back and forth to make the Black Widow movie, but
yeah.
it wasn't for.
Fucking
So it's
Ike Perlmutter didn't want to.
so it's one of those things like we're getting it now, and it may not be important, but it's not the
They've been
movie's.
fighting
It's
to
not
do
the
it.
movie's fault. So I'm probably even if it's not important to the whole plot, I'm not gonna really hold it against the movie.
Yeah.
Like if it's a good Marvel movie, then hey, at least we got a good Marvel movie, you know. Like
I'm so
We-
sorry
we've-
about the
we've-
amount you're gonna have to edit out me moving this mic.
that's fine. All right, I guess that's it.
I
That
think
it.
that's all I've got. I mean,
That's it. Cool.
All right, cool.
Thor 4 was announced.
Thor
Yeah, it
4.
was.
I guess we can talk about while we're here. Talk about some of the movies in the next phase of Marvel that's actually been announced.
Do you want to do that now? Or you want to do that in another episode?
We can do it now.
All right, let's do it.
How long have we been recording?
50 minutes.
How many?
50 minutes.
Oh, we got time.
I was shooting for a 45-minute episode, but it's cool.
Well, whatever. It'll be fine.
Our episodes are way too fucking long.
So, Black Widow, Eternals, Thor 4, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 are the only 4 that have really... I guess Black Panther 2 and Doctor Strange 2 have sort of been kind of confirmed.
I would still have loved to see Doctor Strange go up against Mysterio. That'd been hilarious.
But other than that, I think that's all
I'd be
we've got so
confused.
far.
What's-
We'll know tonight what's coming.
Who's the Eternals?
The Eternals, they are space heroes. I don't know a whole lot about them. Apparently Thanos is an Eternal. They're like a race of space beings that have powers. You've got,
I thought Thanos was a Titan.
They a bunch of spacey boys.
I don't know.
Whatever.
I have no information on the Eternals because I know very little about the Eternals.
Thanos is a titanium eternal.
But anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, minor disappointments for Spider-Man. No Norman Osborn, no Oscorp, no Sinister Six teases.
God,
Not yet. We'll get
I really
there.
was hoping they would hint at Norman Osborn because now's the time to do exactly what I want to happen.
We'll get
Everything is lining up so perfect that now is the time to throw in Norman Osborn to take over the Avengers now that the Avengers are gone and make either
get there.
Hammer or the other one.
Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts.
Dark Avengers.
The Dark Avengers, the series was specifically Norman Osborn with Hammer. I don't know if Thunderbolts was still Norman Osborn,
We'll get there.
but same difference.
All right, that's all I've got for
All right, cool.
All right, cool. So
podcast.
if you guys have any comments about the movies we talked about, Men in Black International and Spider-Man, if you liked it, if you hated it, if you want to tell us what you thought about it, feel free to email us at nerdlykingdom@gmail.com or hit us up on our Twitter at @the_nerdum. Get us on Instagram at the Nerdly Kingdom, our Facebook at the Nerdly Kingdom. We'd honestly really like to hear from you.
Is that everything?
I think so.
I wasn't listening. Did you talk about our other podcast?
I did not.
Our other podcast, Nerdly Kingdom Arcade Mode. It's listen now on Google whatever. Is it Google Music, Google Play
It's
Music?
far better put together than this one.
It's interesting how that works out. And on whatever iTunes is becoming. I guess it's on Apple Podcasts now.
Really?
Because iTunes is splitting up into different things.
Oh.
Or Spotify, which is where everyone listens to us anyway. So cool.
Spotify.
And if it's echoey in here, I think it is. I don't know how much the mic's going to pick up in this. There's nothing I can do about it. Sorry.
Deal with it.
Or we stream a lot now, video games. On Nerdly Kingdom. It's just
I hope to
Nerdly
get to
Kingdom.
do that one day.
It's fun, actually. It's good old fun.
I need
sometimes
better internet than what I have.
you can just do what Jacob does and just watch our streams, and he just talks to us in the chat. Yeah,
I could do that.
It's honestly sometimes Jacob talking in the chat's the best part about the whole thing. But anyways, we're wrapping that up now. Bye.
Bye.
Stopping the podcast. Pressing stop. Where's the stop button? There it is.